guys, it's CBGP, and today we're gonna answer the age-old question: are The Sims 3 Sims actually ugly? The Sims 3 was released in 2009 as a direct sequel to 2004's Sims 2. And within those 4 years of The Sims 2 existing and The Sims 3 being made, they have decided to completely change art styles. The Sims 3 looks completely different from The Sims 2, and then The Sims 3 looks completely different from The Sims 4. As you can clearly see, they're very diverse in art styles when it comes to the Sims series. And The Sims 1 was very primitive looking compared to The Sims 2. Very much different in art styles. When it comes down to the Sims game, some people can't simply grasp that some people like different art styles than each other, which causes a lot of strife within the community. I know, I've experienced it firsthand. But with a mostly unbiased lens, we're going to see, is The Sims 3 Sims actually ugly, or are people straight up just overreacting? Disclaimer, I do not speak for the entire Sims community. I'm just trying to give out reasons why people might think The Sims 3 is ugly, and also why The Sims 3 may or may not actually be ugly. I have my own personal bias towards The Sims 3. I think the game personally looks good, but I'm not going to use that as the standpoint. I have collected research from other websites and just multiple different posts from multiple different time points, as well as making my own polls and asking my own questions to get answers to how many people think The Sims 3 is ugly compared to those who think it actually looks fine. So don't even come for me with, oh, you researched nothing, you're just speaking from nothing. So hey, just know, I'm not using just my own biased opinion, but my bias may slip out at some point. So if that bothers you, don't watch the video. But if you want to see a mostly unbiased view on this, then continue forth from this point onwards. So The Sims 3 has been trashed on since basically day one, especially art style wise. People were not used to how it looks compared to how The Sims 2 looks. The Sims 2 took on a very cartoony art style with very long, narrow heads and genuinely terrifying eye sockets. While The Sims 3 did a very lax, I guess, soft approach where they have more rounded features than they did in The Sims 2's angular features. And this caused strife. I can find posts back from like 2011, from even before then, of people saying how they don't like the way The Sims 3 looks. So I want to get to the root of that issue. If you've ever heard any discourse between The Sims 3 and any other Sims game, it is often brought up that The Sims 3 Sims has pudding face. What is a pudding face, you ask, my dear viewer? Well, the definition of a pudding face is a human face that is big and fat and resembles a pudding. Some people also say a chubby, rounded face with small eyes tend to resemble a pudding face. Do The Sims 3 Sims have pudding face? Well, I would argue and say sometimes, because Sims from The Sims 3, when they spawn as a random NPC like a worker sim or something, they will have pudding face because all of their sliders are set directly in the middle, like to 0, directly in the middle, so there's no like extremes going on. They do have very, very plain faces. But when you look at either made by people or made from the EA, but when you actually play the game and you mess around with the sliders yourself, no, they do not have pudding faces. Does any of the townies have pudding faces? I'd argue and say absolutely not. Some of them look ridiculous. And also the Sims that are spawned directly from the bin, they also don't have. Even if you click the randomize tool within the Sims 3, like create a sim thing, yeah, they don't also have pudding faces. I'll do it right here. No mods, no CC. They will not have pudding faces if you click randomize. It is just the NPCs that spawn, and I'm not gonna lie to you, that gave this game a very bad reputation when it comes to the whole pudding face debate. Is the real reason why Sims 3 Sims are ugly pudding face, or what some people say look like potatoes? I would say it shouldn't matter when it comes to at least pudding face, because I don't think that determines whether or not the game is ugly. Because if we're gonna be honest, look at The Sims 2. The Sims 2, everybody had long heads and basically the same faces. There's only a few Sims I can pick out from the bunch that don't look like everyone else. Literally everyone looks almost the exact same in The Sims 2, especially in like Pleasant View and stuff. Yes, do some of them look slightly different? Sure, but not by much. Almost everyone has the same like face mold in The Sims 2, and I've seen it. So I'd argue that The Sims 2 suffers from same face syndrome more than The Sims 3 does, because at least the townies in The Sims 3 don't have the same faces as the NPCs. Where in The Sims 2, you can literally find someone who looks exactly like Daniel Pleasant. And then when it comes to The Sims 4, most NPCs that spawn has no chins. They just don't have any chins and they're incredibly ugly. If people try to argue with me, please look at the most recent NPC that spawned in your game and tell me, especially the men, that they look good, okay? Besides pudding face, what does people also find ugly about The Sims 3? The lighting. A lot of people say the lighting in The Sims 3 is too dark and it gives them unnatural shadows, which is right. I agree with that. The game is far too dark and it gives weird shadows. This can be fixed with a mod, but it shouldn't be something that's fixed with a mod, and this goes for everything. The lighting tends to make the game look too dark compared to the previous Sims game, but at the same time, The Sims 3 was trying to be more realistic compared to the other Sims games, so it made darker lighting, which I would say does the game an injustice and does make it look kind of bad. Some people don't like the skin textures. They think it's too smooth and it makes them all look smooth, weird baby-like almost situation. And yes, I also agree, the skin texture is far too smooth, but The Sims never got better at that. The Sims 2 skin texture, The Sims 3 skin texture was too smooth, and The Sims 4 skin texture is literally dog trash. So, skin texture-wise, The Sims never got better with that. So, I can see why people would think it's ugly, because I'm the same with the game like The Sims 4. I think the skin texture is bad, which makes The Sims look worse. Overall textures in the game make people think that The Sims 3 looks bad, and it reflects poorly onto the actual Sims. They have very shiny textures when it comes to certain items within The Sims 3, like the clothes, and it can make your Sim look tacky and like they're wearing plastic for clothes. Which, yes, they do that, so I'm not gonna sit here and deny that. They do tend to look plasticky. Some of the textures on the clothes look better than others, but when it's a very shiny texture, it does make it look cheap. The hair. This is something I actually 100% agree with, so this is not a biased take or anything. The hair in The Sims 3 is butt ugly. Like, the texture is so freaking bad on the hair in The Sims 3 that I can understand why people would deem The Sims 3, it looks kinda, I don't know, you know, a little bit whack. Not to mention the overall hairstyles. The hairstyles in The Sims 3, especially the base game, aren't very good. Like, with the expansion packs, they get a bit better, but the overall hair from The Sims 3 aren't very good, especially texture-wise. So I can see why someone would think the game is ugly, like, from those things. Now, what does everyone else think? Does everyone else think The Sims 3 are ugly? Sims 3 Sims are ugly? Or is it just a subset of people? Or do most people not care and they're just like, it's The Sims, I just like The Sims? So, about a month ago, I put up a poll on my community tab on YouTube, which you should totally check out if you want to see polls. I put up a lot of polls, alright? I said, so give it to me straight. Are Sims 3 Sims without CC or mods ugly? I only wanted honest answers. Can I determine whether or not these are honest answers? No, I can't. But this is what the votes went. With a whopping total of over 79 votes on this poll, this is how it went. 27% thought that they are ugly. 34% had no strong feelings and mostly indifferent. 39% said, no, I like them. So they like the way the Sims 3 Sims look. And this is on my YouTube, which, you know, you can argue I make mostly Sims 3 content, so I'm gonna attract mostly Sims 3 people. But, you know, this is just the research I did via my YouTube channel. I say all these answers are pretty close, so a lot of people it really varies depending on who you talk to. The next poll I made was on Tumblr, and I said the same thing I said on YouTube. So these were the percentages. With a 25%, people said they liked them. With a 33%, people said that they're ugly. With a 41%, there were no strong feelings at all. And this is the results from 78 votes. The next poll I had was on Reddit, specifically the Sims 3 Reddit. If any of you people are like, that's a biased Reddit, these are biased answers, I would say yes. But the actual Sims Reddit, yes, I'm calling out the actual Sims Reddit, would not let me put up polls, okay? And I really just did not want to have to sift through a bunch of comments again. So yes, this is going to be biased. You could disregard it if you want to, but people were giving me answers on here as well. And like I said, I can't put polls up on the Sims Reddit. You can go ahead on the Sims Reddit and ask, do you think the Sims 3 Sims are ugly? Only to be bombarded with people who are going to say yes, because the most people who are on the Sims Reddit are Sims 4 players. They're not going to give you an unbiased answer either, so I'd rather just do it in the Sims 3 Reddit, alright? Not to mention, Sims 3 players do tend to have more diverse opinions on how the Sims look, but if you want to say that this poll is biased, then go ahead, I don't care. Anyway, I put up a survey asking the thoughts on the Sims 3 appearance. These are the questions I had on the thing. I do not like the way they look, I like the way they look, or I'm indifferent. Just like on every single poll I ever had, I usually add those 3 options. Is those enough options to give people what they actually want? No, because a normal person's thought process is not just 3 questions on a survey. So yes, I understand. With 26 votes, there's I do not like the way that they look. With 44 votes, I'm indifferent. With 120 votes, comments. And a clear winner is I like the way they look. Of course, there's comments here, I'll flash quite a few on the screen, that are explaining why they chose what answer that they did. I'm not gonna read through all of this. This is not a Reddit reading video. And honestly, I don't think my voice can handle this much reading. And for even more research purposes, I had an actual, post that you could put comments on, but this ended poorly for me. But I asked, are The Sims 3 ugly and why? I was doing research for a video and I asked for opinions. Let me just say, I got some people telling me that this was a stupid thing and I worded it incorrectly. Tell me, did I word it incorrectly? I don't know and I don't care. Anyway, I did not think it would get 94 comments with multiple different opinions. Read through it if you want. I'll put it in the link in the description so you can see many people's different opinions on the way that The Sims 3 looks, but the overall gist that I'm getting is that people either like the way they do, or they don't, or they're indifferent, which means that it's time to do a little bit of math. I am no math genius, but this is my pie chart. I tried my hardest to calculate percentages in the, best way possible. I do not know if I'm correct. If I am not correct and you found a more correct answer to it with all of my votes and percentages, then please go ahead and just comment me the right percentage in the comments, and shoot, I'll update my pie chart on my community tab. So go ahead and do that if I'm incorrect, but this is what I got from my terrible math skills. Like I said, I'm no math genius. Sims players are illiterate. What am I, illiterate? So go ahead and look at the chart that's on the screen and tell me if that seems mostly accurate. But from my guess, and from at least the comments that I've seen, I'm going to actually say that either people like The Sims 3, the way they look, or they're very indifferent. They don't really care either way. They just either like The Sims 3 game, or they just genuinely do not care about the way that they look. Most people don't have a seething hatred for the way that The Sims look. I would argue sometimes, but most people are just indifferent from the way they look. Should I have done a survey in the Sims Reddit? Maybe, but I'm not going through all those comments. It would have had like 1,000 comments and I was not going to look at all of them. Not to mention, I did not care enough to be yelled at or see people actually throw fists in the comments. So if you want to see that, go ahead and do some chaos. Do not say I sent you, but go ahead and put some chaos on the Sims Reddit. But overall, if you want to hear what I truly think it is, I think this all comes down to bias. If you like The Sims 3, you're more likely to like the way that The Sims 3 Sims look. If you like The Sims 2, you're gonna more likely like the way that The Sims 2 Sims look. If you like The Sims 4, you're gonna more likely like the way that The Sims 4 Sims look. It all comes down to what you prefer and what you don't prefer. There's no black and white answer. Does it look good? Does it not look good? Is it ugly? Is it not ugly? No, I'm gonna say overall, it depends on who you are as a person. Art style wise, you might prefer something different, or art style wise, you might prefer the way that The Sims 3 Sims look. It's up to you. If you want to know my personal opinion, I think The Sims 3 is the best looking Sims game in the entire franchise. I think it matches perfectly with the cartoony but not so cartoony, so that you with CC can change the way your Sims look depending on how you want it to. And I think that that is the best direction for The Sims to go. I think The Sims 2 Sims were a bit too cartoony and genuinely terrifying. I've said on multiple occasions they scare me. And then The Sims 4 Sims are too cartoony and they're actually straight up ugly in my personal opinion. But that's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, go ahead and put it in the comments. Do you think I did this topic justice? I have no idea at this point. I'm just gonna say most people are indifferent. Like, I don't know. What answer do you want from me? I am just a simple Sims 3 player. And obviously, if you want to make a video on this topic, you're gonna have to come to a different conclusion. And that's just how it goes. I would think universally most people are indifferent, but you can never tell. All that matters is whether or not you like the way that the game looks if you're playing it. It does not matter other people's opinions, and it shouldn't matter. I like the way the Sims 3 looks, and Sims 4 players can try to carve out the biggest mountain that says the Sims 3 Sims are ugly, and I will simply ignore them. But for now, I think I've done enough talking and math. So, yeah. This is my thoughts, and these are the reasons why I think people think the Sims 3 are ugly. Are they really ugly, or are they not? The answer is no. No one's ugly. Nothing's ugly. It really just depends on perception. And that's why conversations like this are genuinely non-productive. It's not productive to yell at people for what they think something looks like. It's just like art. It's subjective. You can think whatever you want. And it does not mean it's the definite opinion. Some people like to push that it is, and it's not. So please listen to your hearts and think whatever you want to think. In the end, it is just a video game. This is not like an argument for the masses. It's simply, hey, I don't like the way that looks. And some of you like, hey, that's your opinion. It's not that serious. This video took way more math than I thought it was, and now my brain hurts. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you have other opinions, put them in the comments. If you have any other suggestions of a Sims topic that I should take on, go ahead, also put that in the comments. I hopefully have some other commentary videos planned, but right now, if you ask me right here now, I'm working on a video for my second channel. So with that much said, thank you guys so much for watching. This was TVGP. Hopefully I still am TVGP next time you see me. I will see you lot next time, and bye bye.